I was just so gung ho. After 9/11, I was like, I don't care where can I serve? How can I do this? And so that's how I ended up going to the National Guard. Now just kind of finish that story about how I ended up in SF through there was I realized pretty quick that I was an Air Defense National Guard, that the Taliban had no helicopters or fighter jets, and my MOS was useless.
Yeah.
So by the time AIT was done, I got to my unit. They had just got back from their first tour in Afghanistan, and I was excited to ask the guys and say, "Hey, what? How was combat like?" And they looked at me disgusted, and they were like, "What are you talking about, Brent? Like, air defense, there's no use for us in Afghanistan. What do you think we did?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm Private Tucker." And they're like, "We just guarded gates. That's all we did." And the realization, which was my biggest fear, hit me. I was like, "Oh no, I've messed up. I'm not going to do anything I thought that I was going to do or wanted to do. I will be an old man regretting that that I joined the military but did nothing in the military." So I asked these guys, I was like, "Hey, well then who was doing stuff?" And I'm sure there's some truth to the story, but they tell these like big stories like, "Oh man, the SF guys would come in from patrols, blood everywhere," and we'd be like, "ID sergeant," and they'd be like, "F you, open the gate." And I was like, "So what'd you do?" Like, "Well, we opened the gate. There were Green Berets." And I was like, and deep down, I was like, man, they kind of sound like assholes, but I kind of want to be one of those assholes. And so that's what I did.
That's awesome.
I found out there was a 20th group, and I wouldn't say the rest is history because I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I went from, join the military, why the National Guard, and then why SF National Guard. That was the process.
And I get it. It was different. We were at war, but it still takes a different type of individual, which is why we're fucking different, to make that call at such an early age while everyone else is partying and having a good old time,
It does. And there's the dichotomy to that. And what I mean by that is, people always say, "Hey, thank you for your service. Thank you so much for signing up after 9/11. That was brave of you." And my rebuttal after years of service was looking back going, "You know what? It took a terrorist event for me to join the military. Like, the true heroes were the guys that signed up, early in 2001, who cared so much about their country it didn't take a massive event to motivate them to join the military." And that's a true statement still. I mean, that is true. But yes, it is, something commendable and different when your country's at war, and that, when you sign up, you're going to war. You're not just going to go play military. And I really think I'll call it my Q course generation,
mm-hmm.
really was some of the most solid guys because of why they joined. And those guys, it's funny. We were in such a hurry to get through the Q course because we thought we were going to miss war, and little did we know, that 03 Q course was going to see more war in the next 15 years than any generation before us.